Community and environment are critical parts of the goal achieving process, and I believe putting yourself in proximity to people moving in the same direction as you is the biggest advantage that you can give yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Road to Greatness. My name is Elijah Citroni. I lost 20 kilos and stepped onto a bodybuilding stage. I've coached hundreds of people to achieve their health and fitness goals, as well as athletes of all disciplines to achieve greatness in their given field. And a few weeks ago, I attended the 2026 Sports Nutrition Association Conference in the Gold Coast. And so this is my second conference with SNA, and I believe it was a better attendance experience compared to the one they hosted last year in Texas, as they split day one and day two. So day one was speakers from Dr. Cliff Harvey to Dr. Eric Trexler, Lauren Conlon, and Dr. Eric Helms. And our day two workshop involved a mindset coach such as Kylie Ryan, to the founder of SNA himself and Rob Henderson, these individuals that really deep dive into the practitioner side of what it means to be a phenomenal coach. And that was our overarching theme, is to be world class, okay, to continue learning, to keep up with current research, maintain a level of professional and personal development, and build out your own expert opinion by doing the damn thing. And so giving yourself, again, the grace to make mistakes and fall forward and allow them to be our best teachers. And so part of that for me is to continue practicing and refine my skill set, okay, putting in the reps, because having the conversations that I do and working with the clients that I do builds my repertoire and allows me to embrace and practice what it means to go from having conversations to then coaching clients. And on top of that, remembering why I started doing this in the first place. One thing that really stuck out was some really killer one-liners from a lot of the guys that spoke on the weekend. And so Dr. Cliff Harvey hit us with best practice is the starting point, but individualization is the goal. And what he's getting out there is that when we give out advice, we need to start somewhere, but best practice might not be what's right for everyone. And so from here, we individualize based on context. I think of this as nutrition benefit to risk. Okay, given what the person has in front of me, does me doing that contraindicate this? That sounds a bit ridiculous, but it involves everything from, well, their personal preferences, that sort of dives into like their psychosocial milieu, from like culture, ethnicity, their peers, essentially embracing a coach-first approach. Okay, science guides us, it doesn't lead us. And that's probably the best thing that I got out of the weekend, because although these guys spent their whole careers essentially in formal education, they don't allow research to dictate everything that they believe, which I think is really cool. And again, that sort of ties into what Dr. Eric Trexler spoke about, okay, when it comes to individual experiences with weight loss and how resistance to weight loss isn't exactly common. Because again, it's more like, compared to normative data, how hard will this be? Okay, losing fat loss is not the same for everyone, but it is accessible to everyone. So some people can get leaner, some people it's a bit harder, okay, and that can very much influence how much fat someone wants to lose. And that's okay. And so we take into consideration someone's skewed belief, or this self-perpetuating reality that they might have, or this food dogma that they can't eat certain things, or they must eat this. And it's just the evidence and the importance of having a globalist and reductionist approach. Again, talking about being a good coach, looking at the forest and also at the tree, right? And saying, this is what everyone typically does, and where do you fit within that milieu? Where do you fit within this sort of graph? Because from there we can have a conversation about where you want to go. And speaking of where we want to go, Lauren Conlon, who is really deep now into the counseling and the psychology components which I believe was absolutely phenomenal. Just sort of talked about that our role as coaches is to explore the risks and the downsides of a client's goals and experience and their aspirations. Okay, like how do they plan on getting somewhere? Understanding what considerations they've made, when do they want to buy? Okay, how do they define change and how do they define success? I believe they were phenomenal questions to ask someone. Okay, because we're exploring their experience and also setting expectations like, hey, this is going to be harder than what you typically thought. And with that in mind, do you still really want this as bad as you say you do? It's okay if you don't, but do you want it as bad as you say you do? And I really love those questions. And so far, it sort of ties into a lot of the things I've been speaking about in the FMA Institute about archetypes. Some people, they want to look a certain way and they're willing to do anything to get there, including take on a process, including taking on a path that works against their body. And there are some people that sort of go, I'm so far away from that, why would I even try? And it's understanding that they're two people in the same stadium, but sitting in very different seats. And I'm super excited to understand more about what it means to be a good coach, because it goes more than just counting reps or giving macros. It goes into empowering the client and giving them the opportunity to take back their power. To quote Hemi from the FMA Strength Institute. So hope I'm able to quote more of her as we continue to vlog this journey, you could say. But the entire goal of what I've spoken about so far is just meeting clients where they're at and allowing them to sit in the driver's seat. Okay, it's almost like a coach talking to a team captain rather than the coach playing on the field. And that's something that Dr. Eric Helms spoke about. Okay, we can't be at war with our own bodies, and building out interoceptive awareness, or this ability to be in tune with our body signals, and working with it rather than against it. This is very much a high road approach, to again use more terminology that I have previously, because at the end of the day, that's what leads to long-term sustainability. Okay, we're not ignoring or putting a blanket over our inability to connect with self. We're allowing our internal compass to guide us, or at least let us know where it's currently sitting. Because you might be hungry, but if you're choosing to diet, then hey, like, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to be hungry. But if you're hungry and trying to gain weight, it's like, okay, well, then what is this signal telling me? And understanding the difference between signal and noise. Okay, we're giving the team captain in this same analogy the chance to make decisions on the fly rather than making decisions 2, 3, 4 days later with information because they waited for their check-in day. And a consideration when sort of incorporating these subjective or self-relating practices into coaching systems, understanding that, does it stress this person out, and would they actually just prefer to be more objective? Initially, that's okay, especially if there's someone who's overly neurotic. However, we don't want to keep relying on these systems and allowing and actually give someone the chance to be in tune with themselves, because we don't want people tracking macros forever. We want them to understand what their body needs when it comes to food and how to navigate the food environment without these tools in place. So again, Dr. Harvey talked about individuality. Dr. Trexler talked about education. Lauren Conlon talked about just exploring the client experience, and Helms talked about interoception. I'll get there in the end. And all these skills are required to be a world-class coach. And so that's the primary thing that I'm working towards personally, is being world-class. So what does that look like? Well, initially, after some reflection from the past 12 months, I'm going to start limiting the events that I attend each year. Okay, I've learned a lot, and I want to start putting all of that into practice. Okay, because I need to be reminded more than I need to be taught. And so what that looks like is I said, okay, I'm going to do no more than 6 events a year. So that breaks down to 3 FMA immersions, 1 SNA conference, and 2 extras. So that might be a mastermind. It could be a business-focused event like the RTG event I had earlier this year. It could be the Tony Bataji rehab seminar that I'm doing in a couple of weeks' time, which I'm very much looking forward to as well. Okay. But the main thing is not taking on more information, but allowing that information to soak in and building a depth of understanding, and then reapplying it and going back and just being reminded of things that I might have missed and going over and over and over again. Kind of like reading the same book 3, 4, 5, a dozen times. You're going to pick up something new every time. That's exactly what my plan is when it comes to attending seminars and other events and workshops. Although a secondary objective of mine, especially when it comes to attending things like workshops, is networking with attendees and presenters. Because I want to build relationships and just enhance the experience of the event. Like, everyone's there to learn and get better. And I want to add to that. Okay, like, it allows me to live my life's mission, to rid the world of fragile humans, and at least help make some really robust ones. So what I've also noticed is the fitness space can be quite lonely. Everyone's working online, or they're just staying in their own little bubble. And being able to build relationships with these people and build connections and community in an otherwise individual occupation, I believe makes everyone better. Like, everyone's there to learn and improve. So why not do that by helping each other? And that was my biggest takeaway from the SNA conference, is just getting exceptionally good at coaching so I can help clients get exceptional results and have exceptional impact, okay? And continue making or ridding the world of fragile humans, slowly but surely, one dysfunction at a time. And while all this sounds great, the one thing that I haven't mentioned is that in order for me to be world class, I believe it's going to take me at least a decade. And I'm 100% okay with that, because I can't even fathom the sheer volume of reps and experiences that I will have had between now and then, all of which I'll get to share with you here. And so my camera's about to die. So if you've made it this far, thank you for tuning in. Please do like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below what your favorite part was. I'll be back here every single Friday with a brand new episode. So until then, take care. I'll catch you then.